Blagrove. I'm sorry, I've never had to
That's
say
okay,
it.
baby. It's close enough. Dawn is
Blagrove.
fine.
The director of Emancipate NC. She's gonna give us a few words, and then we're gonna get started. All right. Okay.
Hey, everybody. I'm not going to take up a bunch of time. I just wanted to welcome you to our third annual Poetic Justice. Thank you so much for supporting the work of Emancipate NC. We have made some incredible strides over the last couple of years, and we are incredibly proud of the work that we are doing right now and the work we will continue to do with your support. So Hausson Byrd has done an amazing job of putting together probably one of a poetic justice to rival all the other poetic justices. So I am not going to hold us up. I'm going to get us started. I'm going to throw it back to Hausson. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for coming. Thank you for supporting our artists. But most important, thank you for supporting Emancipate NC and helping us to stand with, beside, and for directly impacted people in North Carolina. Thanks. Back to you, Hausson.
Y'all can't hear me. All right. So this event is, as she said, in support and against people who have been impacted by, I call it the injustice system. That's definitely a subject that we're going to be breaching and broaching as we dive into the night. We're going to hear a lot about people's struggles, people's contact with the system, the things that have been done to them, some of their victories, some of their defeats, and the realities of people, especially people of color, in this country and in other countries. Because I did the dang thing. I went in. Never mind. We're gonna get into it. But to start it off, I want to bring in one of my favorite poets, Honora. She, is a recent graduate of UNC Greensboro. GGGGG. So the next time I say Aggie Pride and nobody says Aggie Pride, I need you to help me out, because it makes me feel lonely, and I just did y'all's thing anyway. So quick thing, like, she was the president of the poetry club at her school. I was the president of the poetry club at mine. So we connected like that. And I'm excited to see what she has to offer. So can y'all give rounds of applause? Are y'all down for that? Can we? Woo! I like rounds of applause, It's nice. But take it away.
Hi everyone. My name is Honora and I am a poet. I am getting my MFA in creative writing in poetry at Virginia Tech right now. This is my second year. Poetry is something so near and dear to my heart. So I think it's a great way to explore the different injustices that are affecting people. I have a few poems today. Um, the first one is kind of like a come together poem. It's my way of like introducing us and like getting us to come together and in some kind of fellowship. It's called Praise Song for Diaspora. Praise Song for Diaspora. My people, I follow you like constellations. Fatima Asghar. My people, you come to me as these mountains, blue, black, and huddled like masses of kin. I am an ocean away, but hear your heartbeats in my mother's merciless pound of mortar and pistol. I've come to know migration as a way to stay connected. There's a black child somewhere in America banging on a makeshift drum set of sticks and bucket with a friend nearby ululating into the wind. They don't know it, but your sound is as ancient as the waters that flow through us. Skin folk, we are a dice domino of people, many-faced, we're connected by diaspora. Sister, brother, this is how to measure yourself. Number every black person that has ever existed. They come alive as constellations, as evening sky with tiny peeking eyes. Black friend, I call on you today. Come to the mountain's feet. Grow deep into the earth, name yourself into tree and be. Okay. The next poem I have is called Grief for breakfast. Today I have grief for breakfast. Reach my tongue out my mouth and lick my own tears. I'm keeping the whole of me. I call up a friend and we talk about Black woman paradise, somewhere between starshine and clay. We lay there on dead, rest in the peace of knowing nothing here wants us unalive. Today I want to play the stallion, but play Nina instead. Miss Simone hums something about hanging fruit bodies. She harvests me and kisses the newsburns off my neck. Today I get my acrylics real long, stiletto neon green, strut out of the nail salon grinning at admirers. Yeah, I'm alive and blooming. I fashion my mouth to shoot arrows. No, you can't have my body. No, I'll die on my own terms. I still ain't learned to swim yet, but I'm bikini clad, sipping on something fruity and sweet, getting all parts of me wet. I take two lovers to bed, the three of us tangled into a Black church. We worship our God loud and unashamed. She is a living God. We are living. We are alive with mouths agape in want. Today I am a Black woman venerated, being loved out loud, and I'm loving Black women back to life. Loving Black women back to life. Today I'm loud in my veneration. I am a Black woman in one's mouth agape, yelling, we are alive, we are living God, we are alive and unashamed. Worship a tangled worship. We bloom into a green thing, a church of three, and all parts of us are wet. Yeah, we are alive and grinning our mouths into arrow words. Yes, you can have our bodies. No, we'll die on our own terms. Today I'm all neck, a hanging fruit body, reaching for Miss Simone and the stallion is there too, rapping something about being sweet like sugar. And we're all undead. We're three and naked, covered in starshine and clay. We are Black. We are Black women. We are Black women in Black woman paradise, alive and whole. Today we are whole. Reach our tongues out of our mouths, lick our own tears. I'm gonna get a sip of water. The next poem I wrote, it's a poem for Breonna Taylor. It's called Chanto for Breonna Taylor and all the Black women we've lost. It's a poem that calls on other poets. So it has the voices of Sister Lucille Clifton, Sister Ntozake Shange, Sister Sonia Sanchez, Sister Nicole Seeley, and Sister June Jordan. Come celebrate, come celebrate that that every day, something has tried to kill me, and has failed. Oh, something has tried and failed. Sisters, I invoke you. Let's gather in poem and lay to rest those we've lost to violence. Their souls are restless, so I give these borrowed words as libation, so they may drink a thing crafted in love, and may we also be quenched of our unrest. Picture a woman full of alive. Picture a Black woman so full of alive, we abandon the streets and come to a halting rest. Every great dream begins with a dreamer, begins with a Black woman who lays to rest in her apartment and wakes up the next morning. Picture her picturing herself. Picture her picturing a daughter. Picture her daughtering history. Harriet, Sojourner, Phyllis, Tony, and all the rest, and all the rest. What to do with the knowledge that our living is not guaranteed. What to do with all this life and its touching of death. What to do until we can all meet again in the kingdom of touching. I've wrestled with grief and it left me a bruise that turned first from red to purple to brown, but I must heal. Oh, I must. Can somebody please sing me a Black girl song? Sister Ntozake, this is for colored girls who've had the loneliness of their holiness of their breaths released from their bodies. This is for a colored girl. Someone has walked off with all her stuff, all all her poem and all her dance, all her breathing stuff, all her breathing. This is for colored girls waiting at the end of the rainbow. How do we reach for them? Today we sing a song of sorrow. We open to the water, water waving forever. We are alive forever. Even in death, we are alive. Sister Nicole, sit us in our skins. Let us wait for our names to be called by that sea of God voices. Pull us from this never-ending eulogy and place us on your tongue. And if you can, speak us to life, speak life to us. Sister June, gather our livings and sit with us on the stoop in Harlem. Tell us these words and we will echo. I am not wrong. I am not. Wrong is not my name. Wrong is not. My name is my own. It's my own. It's Brianna. It's Toyin. It's Tatiana. It's Sandra. It's Maya. It's Alexia. It's Miriam. It's Gabriella. It's Chantal. It's Venus. Melissa. Latonya. Charmel. Kendra. Shelly. Margaret. Eleanor. Alberta. Darnett. Frankie. Tanisha. Michelle. Pearlie. Sonia. Kayla. Sharice. Taisha, Shaniqua, Kiam, Shelby, Gisbetta, Rikia, Ayana, Tarika, Carla, Megan, Janisha, Aura, Yvette, Duana, Niza, Sholina, India, Megan, Janisha, Natasha, Renisha, Shelly, Shulena, Alicia, Sharice, Kendra, Latanya, Danette, Sonji, Tina, Amanda, Gwen, Naraya, Janice, and all the rest and all. Thank you.
Claps, please. No, unmute yourself when you clap so we can hear it. Don't.
Very good. I like that. I like that.
Beautiful.
It's dope.
Honora, thank you for bringing that energy into our space. That was kind of heavy, but where is Miss Trilletta ready? Miss Trilletta also works with us in Emancipate NC's Justice League program. That's where we met her. And like Honora, she is here to share, a story. Want to take the stage?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to share a story that just recently affected my family. I have a young cousin who just recently turned 19. Has been previously diagnosed with schizophrenia. He moved from North Carolina to be with his mother in New York, and of course, they they really didn't understand his mental illness, but he does. So he actually found himself in a moment and in a crisis and called the law enforcement, called the police on himself for help. Um, he actually called them 2 to 3 times and they turned him away, never showed up. And then he actually went to the hospital and was turned away multiple times, not given the assistance that he was seeking. So in turn, he said that the voices got so loud that he ended up stabbing his mother. They did incarcerate him. He was placed in the mental portion of the facility. Uh, his father, which is my cousin, actually hired an attorney, and they just released him about 2 weeks ago. So he's here with us in North Carolina, awaiting his court date, which is October the 5th. His mother doesn't want to press charges, but um, we still have to go to court. So this has affected my family in the way of reaching out to authorities or elected officials for help, and no one is helping. So what is the real deal? Are you really protecting us? And that is my story that has recently affected my family.
Thank you, Trilletta. And that's some of the ways that the system affects us in a real world way. Like we're supposed to be able to go and turn to them for help and for assistance, and that's just not something that they're interested in providing for us. And Troletta Story is one of the ways that we can see that in real time, in the way they're more invested in, you know, our encapture or our ooh, what's the word? Encapture? It's not, that's not the word. Encapsulation, or I'm a poet. I should be able to find a word. It's not the word I want, but it is the
Encapsulates.
Okay.
Encapsulates.
our bondage, something like that, somewhere over there. I know it's like that came from nowhere, but you know our bondage and our safety type wave. So next up we have I'm actually excited to see what this dude does. He's the youngest poet that we have today, so he's like the newbie. This is like his first poetry event. Where's Kazi at? Where are you, bro? I don't see you. Are you here? Did he fall off? Hold up. Maybe he's not here. Maybe I don't see him. Oh, you are here. Are you gonna turn your camera on, or you just gonna?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
My apologies, cause I'm in a car. I didn't want to like. Hold on. I'm trying to find a way to put it. Okay, you gonna hold it for me? Okay, thank you. How y'all doing?
So, yeah, it's on you, bro. Feel free
All right,
to share
cool.
your story. Go ahead.
All right, so walking down the street to get to my friend's house a couple blocks from where I stay, I feel free. Every step gives me joy and the roads are smooth. The cars fly by like time. I wear a black mask and I walk past the house. The gentleman sees me in passing and compliments me in my hoodie. Nice black hoodie. It really goes well with your all black pants and brings out the rich in your black hair. Thank you, sir, I say as I pass. As I continue my journey to my friend's house, a police officer stops and says, "Where you headed, son?" He gives me a smile so genuine it feels close to home like family. I told him I was heading to a friend's house. So he offered me a ride. I hopped in and made it to my friend's house safe and sound. That sounds good, right? That sounds like something that could really happen, right? Nah, you don't think so? Shoot, let me tell it again. So look, I was walking to the homie crib. He ain't stayed too far from me. As I walk, the cars fly past with no regard. I'm like, dang, bro, pardon me. Every step feels like freedom, but what's free to you ain't quite free to me. I guess some grass on the other side truly is greener, but you know, the world kind of taught me what color should mean to me. Now I walk past dude's crib. He sat on the porch and he asked me what's bracking. I looked at him. I smirked and said, "Nothing, homie. What's happening?" Now, as I kept walking, trying to avoid trash, I almost tripped over a rusty mattress. Like, what's this doing here? Whatever. As I keep walking, 12 past with the tinted glass, low-key got me shook. I'm trying to make it home to my homies and not just to make it alive and be in the, a page in the photo memory book. Like, you see him? He died this day. See, so they stopped and looked and said, "Hey, kid, why you wearing all black?" I said, "It's my favorite color." But see, I didn't think they was talking about black like clothes, because they could wear black too, but I would always be the black that they lack, even without the clothes. So I stepped out, then they stepped out. "Mama, I'm scared. I'm sorry. I may not make it home." They said, "Put my hands behind my back." But officer, I ain't do nothing wrong. Cold shackles gave me flashbacks to a Roots movie. "Nigga, stop resisting." I hear the line. That's the line that they use before the shooting. But I'd rather go out like X before I leave the world like Luther. So I'm booking it, running, and I hear the click. Oh, shoot. So one shot for the life that I'll never live to see. 2 shots gonna make me another black martyr in black history. Now 3 shots, I pray they kill me so I don't get arrested. 4 shots, dang it, that's not a gun, that's a taser. Led me to a dead end. But hey, it's reality. It is what it is. So forget it, oh well. The bright side is I made it to my homie house. It's too bad now that we live in a cell. This is reality.
I appreciate you, bro. Can you
It was
tell
good.
a little bit about what inspired that and where that came from?
So I combined 2 stories. So with me, I had an incident as to where I was walking and I was stopped by some police officers, me and some of my friends, and our immediate response was to run. We ran. We made it home. We made it home. I have another friend, and thing is, like, we weren't up to the best when we ran. So were we guilty of some stuff? Yeah, but nothing major. But I had a friend, and there was a incident with him, and he ended up going to jail for something that he didn't do, but he fit the description. So he didn't quite make it away. So because of that, that's kind of like what inspired it. It was like, see, should the world be where, you know, police and us can coexist? Yeah, it should. Will it be like that? I doubt it. But, you know, it's like two perspectives of the story. It's like, this is for somebody else. The beginning, that's somebody else's story. For me, it's not quite my story or anybody else's story that I know. So that's kind of like what inspired it.
Thank you.
Hausson, you're on mute.
Anxiety, that's tough. What was I saying? I like events, you know, I like doing this because they are interactive experiences. Usually we are all, you know, sitting together in one room. You can feel the energy, you can feel the spirit, you know, you can look somebody in the eyes and see their truth and feel their vision. We can't necessarily do that because of COVID and, you know, challenges and, you know, a lot of us aren't actually in the same place or in the same time. You know, time is illusion, but still right now. But that's also one of the beauties of, you know, doing this over Zoom is that, you know, we can come together from wherever we are and share this moment and be in this space and exist. So I appreciate you coming out to speak with us, bro. Next up, somebody very special to me. This is my one of my godmothers. We've known each other for a while. She's gonna come share her story about, you know, some of the things that happened in, I want to say, our family. Can I say our family?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our family and things that have affected us. Yeah. So I'm just let you take it over. Introduce yourself, all of that.
All right. My name is Medina Gross, and I am AKA TT, auntie in Spanish for Hausson and his brothers. His godfather, well, his father is my son's godfather, and a very important part of our family. So I'm coming as a mother of 6 Black boys, and ages from 23 to 7. I have a son currently incarcerated. He's 18. He's being held without bail on charges of robbery. He has been so unfairly processed through his dealings with the court system. From you know, he's already has another case going on, or he was already on probation for something, you know, for a previous case. Even in that case, as a first offender, and he was 17 at the time, a first offender, 17 years old, with a co-defendant, I see how the system will work first of all, work you against one another and award the person who so-called a snitch or whatever. My son they had no evidence on my son except for the word of a co-defendant. And being that I'm not a rich person, I don't have a Johnny Cochran team, we had to take a plea because it was a situation of, do I trust the system and go to jury, even though it's not enough evidence, that I know it's not enough evidence to convict me, but do I take that chance of them believing this young man over me? Because it's really his word against mine, and it can go either way.
So when you're caught in a situation like that and you don't have a team against you and you don't have funds to back you, these kids are just taking pleas and they're just getting caught up in the system. And that's pretty much what the DAs are looking for. So you can get in the system. They just want you to go ahead and get in there, hoping and praying that they can get you for anything else so that the next time they can go ahead and get you and make sure that they keep you there. And that's pretty much what's happening right now. We went ahead and we took that plea so he can go ahead and be released. He was released, and in this situation, I don't even know what type of evidence. They so-called had a warrant out for him, never came to the house to serve the warrant, but somehow finds him at a friend house. He's on probation, you have his information, and you never come to his house with a warrant out for him for over 2 weeks. It just seems really, really fishy about that. That's number one. Number two, when you do catch, get him at his friend's house, because like you don't get him committing a crime. So whatever information you have to arrest him, we still don't know that. So you get him at his friend's house, and then you give him no bond. I watched as I sat there for my son's first appearance, numerous repeat felonies, grown men who they granted bonds, $60,000 bonds, $10,000 bonds. And these were for violent offenders. These was assault charges. These was drug charges, violation of protection orders, and all kinds of different charges. And I'm seeing how what it looks like is that they'll rotate the older felonies and they'll go ahead and rotate them in and out the system, go ahead and get that bond money, but they're trying to keep the younger ones, go ahead and keep them in the system. And then, as they time out or whatever, then they'll become an old head, hoping that they go ahead and start to rotate so they can get that money. And it's just a systematic, and it's just a program, just keeping that running through. And that's how it looks like they're doing, because I've seen multiple felons of older guys, older grown men commit crimes over and over again. They're not keeping them in the system. They'll go ahead and let them get a bond out, let them rotate out if they could bond out. And the young guys, they're literally processing them so that they could be labor, so they can go ahead and stay in that incarceration. And they're just like, it's just a real hamster wheel rotation that they got going on. And I mean, the bond, even when he had a co-defendant, the bond for the co-defendant was $50,000. They gave my son a $650,000 bond for turning himself in. He got a $650,000 bond. You have the same charges, exact same charges. How does he get a $50,000 bond and my son get a $650,000 bond for turning himself in? Because you awarded the whatever, the snitch, however you want to call it, you awarded him for dropping my son's name, but you knew that you don't have enough evidence. You don't have evidence to come in to really arrest him, because there was no video. You don't have anything. But being, like I said, we don't have the funds to fight it. So we take a plea. Now you picked him up for something else. I don't know what this evidence is. I have no idea. But you picked him up for something else. Never came to serve him at his house. Probation officer never informed that there's a warrant out. But anyway, so now you locked him up. He's 18. He was going to school. He's in school. And now he's locked up, and he's back in the system, back, no school. And, we'll see how this goes. Now we got to, see how the public defender is going to, do this case. And I mean, then I have a most recent situation. My oldest son, friend gets robbed at his home, okay? Someone breaks into his house and robs him. And he's scared to call the police. They come over here to tell me what happened. And I'm like, well, did you call the police? And he's like, no. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, I'm scared because he's subleasing from the person that they think, broke in, or that they know broke in. He's subleasing, and so he's scared because he feel like he's out of pocket, even though he has literally a lease. Or, everything is straight up. He's scared to call the police because he's thinking that he's going to be the one that'll be victimized when he's the victim. And that really kind of put me in a special place right there, when my son and his friend was so scared after they have been victimized that they don't even want to call the police to go ahead and see about getting help. They don't even know how to help. They come over here to get help. And I'm like, we got to call the police, y'all. So we did call the police, and thank God they, of course they see, everything is legit. They see what happened, and in this particular case, it turned out to where, they're assisting them in trying to recover their belongings and such. But the initial reaction as to you getting robbed, don't want to call the police, says a whole lot. So there's a lot that it's imprinted in these young kids' minds. And this is a 23, 24-year-old. It's imprinted in their minds that the police is not a friend. That run when you see the police, like the young man said. That touched me. Like I said, I have 6 sons. That bothered me that he went through that.
Thank you, TT.
And that's all I have to share, really.
Can you hear me? Yeah, thank you, TT. I appreciate you.
Sharon.
No problem. Yeah, seeing what my family goes through, knowing what I go through, knowing what people go through. It's always heavy. It's always hard to understand that this is the reality for, Black people, regardless, all across America and really all across the world. That's another thing that we're gonna start to touch on in a second. But it's my turn. So I got a poem. It's new. Y'all are the first people to ever hear it. Let me know in the comments what you think. All right. Can y'all hear me? Y'all can hear me? All right, bet. I'm gonna stop being nervous. Police treat Black boys like triple threats. How they never drive past an opportunity to shoot. Courts treat Black boys like poor sportsmen with weak technique and no effort. Keep us on the bench like we hustle list, but charge us like we hustlers. Big ballers, they brand us bad apples. Foul, but we only fall or foul out when they make contact. Police us like it's a contact sport, but only contact their weapons when they contact us. They don't stop squeezing till we hit the floor. Quick to contact back up, but won't contact help while we fade away. It's not their job to help when they knock our door. They knock our doors and say to vote. But ain't nothing changed since we voted for hope. Police still kill us like it's their job. The wealthy still don't want to give us jobs. Politicians don't support our teachers, but teach that we are the problem. Courts act like the only play in their playbook is to book us, punish us for falling their trap, spend more on our chains than our freedom or our knowledge, would rather break our bodies than buy us books or feed our mind. They feed us lies. Don't play by their rules, but rule our lives. Don't know our worth, we be undervalued stars, reduced to role players. I know boys who know nothing but the game, risk and trouble, dealt bad hands but still don't fold, and we have no hope of getting old. Our neighborhoods ain't getting new, and all that new shit ain't for us. America won't show us love. They not a fan, but share our pain, but silent when we ask for change, and don't want us to take a knee, but love it when we cop a plea. I've heard boys ask for help and receive nothing for their trouble, then cause trouble and get everything taken away, call the cops and end up a threat. They won't help us but assist our death, shooting like they keeping score, and all we really want is breath. What y'all think? It was kind of, I know it's kind of rhymey, but yeah, I got there, right? Y'all saw it?
Got there.
Powerful.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yes,
baby.
powerful.
Got me sitting here on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Am I gonna do another one? Do we have time for that?
You're gonna do another one.
I'm gonna do another one. That's how that's happening.
It's happening.
Okay. Hold up. All right, bet. Hold up. Give me a second. I bet. I only wrote one, so oh shit. Okay. I'm sorry for cussing. I hope there are no children or elderly people. And I'm sorry if I offended you. Don't hold it against me. I'm 21 in America in my head.
Okay, let me intercede right now. Hassan, we're not apologizing for any way that we express our pain. However it comes out, that is how it comes out. That is what we are doing here today. We are standing and living in our truth, baby. Do you?
Okay, but we can cuss, guys. We're all like, so, you know, that's another thing. I wanted to make sure that this lineup.
I wish you would have told me. I would have been cussing.
Huh?
I wish you would have told me, because like my poem had so many cuss words in it. I was just refraining myself. Like, yo, even when I said, oh, I hear the gun click. Oh shoot, I was really gonna be like, oh shit. But if you feel me, like I didn't know.
That's tough. I wish we had got the full experience. Now I feel bad. But I definitely wanted to make sure that. Well, at first I had tried to get like, you know, different perspectives, different age groups. But as the months wore on and I had to prepare, I realized that, you know, the lineup was looking a little young. So then I was like, you know what, we're going to commit fully to that. And so like everybody in the lineup is like, you know, 18 to 20, 24. Who's the oldest? I think is it you, Jeremy? How old are you, Jeremy?
No, I'm 20.
Honora, how old are you? Never mind. I'm not supposed to ask women their age. We'll just skip it. Just gonna skip it. But yeah, we some young guns. All of that. My state is known for its food, for its barbecue, for our sauce, the flavor. Carolina's finest dining. You haven't lived until you've had Bo-Berry biscuits or Dame's chicken and waffles. I grew up in backyard cookouts on summer days. Barely burnt chicken off the grill with mac and greens, family recipes, and front yard football games. We were raised from the field to the table, from the table to the kitchen, like you either brought a dish, made a dish, or did the dishes, but everybody ate a plate or two and danced and laughed the day away. See, my people have always been easy to break bread with. We are an eating people, and nothing brings us together like food. In class, after parties, Sundays after service, repass after wakes, tailgates before the games. Any free day when we can come together and celebrate our greatness, our survival in a hostile environment, because my state is always trying to tear us apart. Always in a state of disrepair. My people keep drowning in a wave of rebuilding. I've seen whole neighborhoods disappear like them old summer days. Redevelopment done carved whole sides of town out the ground. My state is known for the type of policies that will air out a block without lifting a finger, more so an ink pen, the same old school Tar Heel blue democratic mindsets that will build colleges on plantations and name middle schools after racists that use lies to set fire to Black community. That's Carolina character, known for the Wilmington race riots, where a thriving Black town disappeared like those old summer days. Reconstruction era rebuilding, barbecue to ash, burnt way worse than the chicken we used to eat, and it's a hard sight to swallow, how they hate our alchemy, the way we turn spite into treasure, but you want our magic, the way our touch transmutes pain into records, how we turn everything into gold and heal from anything they toss aside, so now they leave nothing behind. That's why my state is known for waste. lakes of pig shit that overflow into our water sources in communities known for starving, for empty fields and emptier stomachs. 1 in 5 children go hungry here. 1 in 3 if they're Black, known for stealing. Restaurants like Cookout, trying to sell our experience back to us, discounted, like it could ever compare, known for acting, like it ain't our sweat that paves these streets. Minimum wage means you slave to eat, and those who control have never tried to fix the flaws in this food chain. More so focused on moving our neighborhoods out the way in the name of their new progress. They don't have to tell us we don't matter. That's Carolina character. Treating us like we're only good for the kitchen or the fields, condemning people to the fields, but not the food flowing from it, funding food deserts before food justice, Southern hospitality. The way they don't have to say they still hate sharing lunch counters with us, but always want to come to the cookout and never bring a dish. Not that we really wanted their food anyway, a flavorless that chokes out whole generations, offer a place at the table and a plate full of hate. Actions speak louder than words, and these people have always been hard to break bread with. Never want to see us fed, would rather feed us full-blown lies instead, portion size oppression small enough to leave us starving. Every meal they invite us to ends up with our bodies on the menu. As Cherokee tribes made appetizer, every nigga picked at picnics to be strung up and barbecued after, left for the town to see, and it's a hard sight to swallow. Watching our culture made main course for centuries, stolen for its flavor, poorly imitated, or burnt to a crisp. That's Carolina character. So that's barbecue. You know, old, but slight relevant. I hope that y'all appreciated it.
That's from I Don't Write Happy Poems?
No, that's new. That's new.
Oh, that's new. Okay. That's dope.
So, you know, not actually old. Recent, for real, but you know, I throw away everything after I write it. So, I had you know what I just did? I had what I was looking for right in front of me, and then exited away from it because I'm not paying attention for real. Are y'all good? Energy check, mental's okay, heart's heavy, but you know, recognizing, I see some of y'all beautiful Black people and non-Black people, but, you know, y'all still beautiful. Yes, you are. But y'all good. Y'all wanna want our swag, but not our rhythm and blues. Exactly. Y'all want to like throw a word in the chat for how y'all are doing? Oh, Dawn said keep it going. Never mind. No, y'all can still throw a word, but you know, we're gonna keep it rolling. Next up, we actually have this is when, you know, now I have to do things. We have a video. So y'all take the time. Well, you know, we're gonna do this a different way. Actually, we're gonna do this a different way. Everybody say hello to Rosa. Rosa, say hi.
Hey.
She is gonna be our next poet. But before we go, we're gonna introduce you to Rosa's father. What's Rosa's father's name?
His name is Ulysses.
Mr. Ulysses. Ulysses? Yeah. That's a fire name.
Yeah, that's
a fire name. I don't know that. I'm learning that just as y'all are learning that. But if my name wasn't Hausson, Ulysses, I don't know. That might be one of my kids.
Yo, I'm gonna tell him that you said that.
Oh, Ulysses, because it's like Ulysses, but it's not.
Right.
And Ulysses is okay, but Ulysses has got that that energy. It's like, anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, yes, we're gonna meet Mr. Ulysses really quickly, and then we're gonna go. I'm pressing the wrong button again. Then we're gonna go into Rosa. So bear with me. See this? Everybody can see the thingy in front of you. We're gonna start the video over from the front. And y'all vibe out real quick.
Hello, my name is Ulysses Varona.
Can we hear?
I'm Rosamaria's dad. I'm a 60-year-old this year. I'll be 60. To I want to start my story with when I came to this country when I was a teenager. I was 17 years old. I was struggling because when I came in,
What happened?
Hausson, the video went mute.
there was factory jobs.
Okay, I muted myself,
To-
thinking that wouldn't matter.
To
so maybe
get
it
around
does.
and to get a job,
Alright,
especially being Spanish, being from another country, not knowing the language that good. The only job for to get was factory jobs, and it was like a $3.50 an hour back then in 1980. And it was so hard for me to struggle to make means. And I started working in 3 different jobs. In the hospital at nighttime, overnight, and then in the department store. I did that for like about 5 years, but I was still struggling. Rent was up and everything, car payments and all that. I couldn't afford it. I was struggling so bad, and I couldn't get any decent job because all the decent job was for Americans or citizens, which I was not at the time. I'm not now. Then I became friends with some of my buddies from my country, and obviously they weren't doing business, legal business, doing drugs. I mean, not doing it, but selling drugs. And I got introduced to the business, and it was a quick buck at the beginning. I started, like dropping and picking up, and it was, helping me out. And I saw that opportunity that I could make more money, so I decided to go that way on the route, and I was young. My dad and my mom was in Cuba, so I didn't have no supervised parents with me at the time. And I started doing it, and I started dealing, and everything was doing fine for a while, and until I get caught. One of my customers snitched me out. He sent me out with the feds, and I was, by the time I was living in Miami, but I was dealing in Minnesota, and that's where I got caught, because that guy that I trusted it and thought that he was my friend sent me out with to the cops, and the DEA caught me, and I was never been involved in the justice system before. And then I got caught, I got sentenced, and they didn't even give me a chance for being a first-time offender. They gave me 5 years. And those 5 years was a struggle for me, because by the time I was all by myself, still young. I was in the late 20s, early 30s. And at the time it was hard, because the judge was really mad because I didn't cooperate with the government, because I'm not a snitch. So they want me to cooperate to see what my suppliers were, but I never gave him up. So that's why they did, and he sentenced me, he said me that he was gonna make it hard for me or my family to go and see me in jail. And I told him that it's really a possibility to, to do my time in Florida, Miami, where all my family were at the time. And he started laughing at me. I said, no, I'm gonna make your time hard, and I'm gonna ship you to Kentucky. So that was in the middle of the country. I never heard about Kentucky before. So I was there, they bussed me up on the bus. I rode for like about 2 or 3 months all over through Minnesota to Wisconsin, and then I was in Terre Haute, Indiana. That's a maximum security prison. I was in a lockdown for 24 hours a day until I got to my destination, which was Ashland, Kentucky. And there, Kentucky, all hillbillies, rednecks, me being a Cuban, and they made my time really hard for me. But finally I got out, and when I got out, of course, since I was from another country, immigration caught me. and they put a deportation order on me. I went to the judge, and they signed off the deportation. The only reason I'm still in this country is because they don't have a deportation treaty with Cuba. But ever since that, I cannot leave the state. I had to go to ICE every year for like a check-in to know that they let them know that I'm still alive, I'm doing okay, I'm not involved in any other illegal activity. And that's how my life is. It's ruined completely. I'm a 60-year-old. I can't even retire from my Social Security because according to them, I'm an illegal now, although I came here in this country in 1980 legally. So that's the system that we are living in, and especially for me being a Latino, that's how hard it is, and that's my story.
What's it like not being able to know when you have to leave the country?
That's the toughest one, because I don't know. I mean, they control everything. They control me. I can't even leave the state and not the country. I see. They said the minute that they get a deal with the communist country, with the regime on Cuba, they can tell me, well, you better pack your things, or we're gonna chip you out. So I mean, I'm living in uncertainty that I don't know when is that gonna happen, if this is gonna happen ever soon, anytime soon. So no, and then after all these years, I've been having problems with the IRS and the state of North Carolina tax revenue, and 2 years ago, because I owed taxes from 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago they garnished my check, which I'm only I only have a part-time job, and they didn't care about that. They just garnished my check, and then after that, 2 weeks ago, I just received a letter from the bank saying that they put a levy on my checking account, which I don't have anything, but they still put a levy on my bank account. And now I gotta deal with them. I gotta call them back to see what else they want from me, because I'm only a part-time. I don't even make 23 or 25 hours a week, and they still want more money from me. I don't understand this. This is completely corrupt system that they have here, and I don't know what to do, really. I'm gonna see what they're gonna do when I tell them that I cannot pay them, that they already getting money from me every paycheck, which I think is more than enough. That's my story.
And so, now we can start to get into, not necessarily the monotony, but, the repetition, the constant in all the stories is always, the unfairness, the overarching and senseless oppression and unnecessary, policing of our lives, of our bodies, of our time, of our pockets, repetitively and repeatedly. Yeah, Rosa?
Yeah, thank y'all for watching that. So when Hausson hit me up, he, of course, asked if I knew anybody who had been involved in the justice system. And of course my dad was, and I brought the idea out to my dad. Oh wow, my face is up here. I brought the idea out to my dad about him speaking about his experience, because he's always been, he's not one to talk about how he feels a lot. And so I was wary about that, but he was actually here for it. And I wanted to allot him as much time as he needed to talk about his experience and his story, because he's not somebody who does that. So yeah, so I gave him quite a bit of time, and I thank you guys for listening to that. So then I decided to write this. I wanted to talk about, how I feel about the situation, because it's also, you know, I'm like father, like daughter. Like, I don't talk about how I feel often either. So, you know, here it is. You know, I wrote a poem on this matter about 4 years ago in search of deliverance. A poem in which I likened my father to being this old oak tree, awaiting a morning that was reminiscent of Judgment Day. The retribution for sin demands denunciation, deportation, the dissolving of familial bonds. I created said poem to act as both a plead and a prayer, addressed to God or Source or Mother Gaia or the immigration judge, or honestly anyone else who would actually care to listen. These days, I have no desire to be as poetic. The roots of my metaphors no longer run as deep. The meanings behind my words have been uprooted for quite some time, vibrating on the surface level. It's just a certain heaviness that's created a dwelling of this body, a home of sorrow, confined at the core of a cocoon cascaded in qualms, and the whole family has taken residence in it. He urges me to envision the solemn departure, but my imagination seldom feels safe enough for me to take flight into. This is the one time I take pride in being earthbound, in being a human, afraid of losing their father. The entire premise of the poem was essentially an ode to the man who'd raised me to not only stand on my dignity, but to pirouette upon it, proud in both my glory and in all my vices. Some days, though, I've seen him operate as the shadow of a man, stumbling over his feet. He awaits darkness to absorb him or absolve him, whichever will come first.
Am I clapping alone? That's so. Can y'all clap with me and unmute yourselves? No, it's
That was
okay.
dope. Thank you.
Yes,
There
awesome,
you go.
powerful.
Wow.
I'm just slow
Yes,
with
that
the
was
muting, but I
beautiful.
be clapping and hurraying over here. I'm just slow.
Right. Nah. I be in Zoom events and people be like, oh, we're gonna snap, or we're gonna, do the like little high five thing in the corner, be popping up that thing. And I just think that's so weak. Like, I think it's weak. It's not the same. I don't like it. I want to thank Rosa for coming out and sharing. Me and Rosa go way back for real. She's one of my OGs. We've been in it to win it for a while. So I know, coming up here was not necessarily a lot. I'm not gonna call it a lot. You might call it a lot. I'm not gonna call it a lot. I'm gonna call it light work. You feel me?
I appreciate the opportunity anyway. Thank you, guys.
Facts. And I appreciate you opening up on your family. And I appreciate your father for coming and sharing with us and being that honest and being that open with us. Like, I truly do appreciate that. So thank you for that. Could we now? I want to take a second, and hear from everybody else, all the people in the back that ain't had their cameras on. That I said I won't talking to you. Now I'm talking to you. Look at that. Does anybody want to come and share their thoughts or their feelings, or if you were touched by a story, or you have something in your heart or your soul, or you want to say something to one of the poets or one of the storytellers, or you speak up. Like, you don't got to raise your hand. You can just talk. It's a free open space.
My camera's broken, unfortunately, but I just want to thank all the poets. All y'all are extremely talented. You shared stuff that was super deep, super impactful, really powerful. I'm super grateful for your talent and your sharing with us tonight.
Who is that? Was that Miss? Who is that?
That was Jen.
I thought so. Thank you, Jen, for responding. Oh God, you're my favorite. Do we have goodie bags? Can we give Jen a goodie bag? Can we arrange that? Is that not? No, I'm sorry. I tried. I should have talked about that before. I didn't.
Right.
We don't have goodie bags, but you get a spiritual goodie bag, Jen Fry.
That's good enough for me. Thank you.
There we go.
Does anybody else want to say? Or I'm about to. 5, 4, 3, 2. I tried. All right. Next up, we're going into the last couple people, so bear with us. 8:30. Nah, we can make it. We can make it. Up next is my man Jared, coming out of California. Are you still here? I saw you get ready. Like I saw you was ready. There you are. You are ready. All right, bro. Take it away. Thank you, man.
Hey y'all. Hope y'all doing okay. I want to thank Alani and thank everyone for having me here today. I really like this event. Hausson, you're doing really good. No need to be shy, man. No need to be shy. You feel me? I'm the Freedom March director at the Youth Justice Coalition over here in Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles. So I host open mics once a month and stuff like that. And I was hella nervous for my first couple open mics and stuff like that too. Still get nervous even now. I'm having the next one on the 25th, so I invite y'all to come out. It's on Zoom and it's a national open mic. And y'all can win money and stuff like that. But I wanted to give y'all a little bit of history about myself and a little bit about my story. Give me a second. So my name is Jared, but I go by J-Bo or King J-Bo when I'm on the stage. I'm a singer, songwriter, vocal producer, but most of all, I'm a community and youth organizer at the Youth Justice Coalition, also the Freedom March director. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Belize, Central America, or the Caribbean. Grew up in a single parent household. I started getting into the streets at a very young age, and my mom decided, she was gonna bring us over here, and she was gonna try to get us a better life, but she had to go back home to fight a custody battle for my 2 younger brothers, and left us over here with a friend. And a little while after that, we found ourselves homeless in a country that we didn't know anyone or know nothing about. And it was a hard time, not having nowhere to stay and it being cold at night and stuff like that. So I decided to get back into the streets to just find a way to eat, live, and do certain things. And I ended up catching a case and getting into the system. I was looking at like 9 years in prison and getting deported back to Belize. But that wasn't really an option for me. I wasn't trying to go back, at least not like that. So a little while after that, they found out that there was no evidence in my case, and basically they said they were gonna give me probation and time served and X hours of community service and stuff like that. So I had to do that. Was on probation for about 8 months, and stuff like that. While on probation, I was still facing homelessness. I was still hungry. A lot of things were still happening in my life, and no resources was ever offered to me. And I always knew that I wanted to make a change, and I felt like that was a fear. I ended up getting kicked out of school because I was on probation and all kinds of stuff. So I was out of school for about a year, and I decided to go back to school. When my granddad died, he was like a dad to me. And I decided to go back to school, to a school called CRCD Academy, Coalition for Responsible Community Development. and I got connected to the Youth Justice Coalition through one of the teachers that was a sub, and when I got connected, they was telling me about youth development department that they're trying to get, and they're trying to divest 5% of the money from law enforcement and all kinds of stuff. And all the data they brought to me and brought to us at the school, I was just like so deep. So I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but turns out like I organized my whole school, gave them a presentation, spoke to the teachers, spoke to the board of the school, everybody, and we ended up walking out. Even teachers walked out with us. They gave students who walked out extra credit and made it a free day for students. So we ended up walking out. And ever since then, I've been connected to YJC, and I feel like a youth development department is something that is necessary, not just in LA, but across the United States, because I feel like there's too much money spent on incarcerating young people, but not enough money spent on actually developing them into being adults and to being, to surviving in this world and surviving in the U.S., because we all know how hard that could be, especially turning 18 and moving out on your own or having to do things on your own, but there's no youth development department. There's no jobs available for the students or for the young people that don't have the privilege of going to college and don't have the finances in their homes of going to college. There's no jobs and there's no resources available for them. So now I'm the Freedom March director at the Youth Justice Coalition. I host monthly open mics. I do economic empowerment panels on how to get into the legal cannabis industry. So many different things I do, along with carrying on three to four different campaigns. I'm also the lead on a couple coalitions. So yeah, now I do a lot, and I turn around and I look at where I was and where I am now, and I said if every youth has access to the resources I have, LA would be a better place and the world would be a better place. And that's why for me, I don't want to stop fighting until I see we have a youth development department and divest money from law enforcement to create that youth development department. Thank you. Y'all have any questions? Do y'all have any questions for me or anything I could? All right, thank y'all.
All right, thank you, bro. I
Thanks for
appreciate you.
sharing.
If anybody or if everyone who has shared today could take a second and put their information in the chat, like email, a phone number, your Instagram, any way that you want people to contact and interact with you. I'm not gonna make us there's no circle to go around. Like we can't introduce everybody in the crowd, but I do know that there are certain people in the crowds, people who may or may not want to help, be able to help, have resources, are inspired, want to share words or resources or anything like that. We could set up a Google Doc. I don't want to set up a Google Doc, but we could. I'm not gonna cap. I'm living in my truth these days. But yeah, people feel free to reach out, interact, build community, ingratiate yourselves in your energy and your resources. People need help. People need assistance. You might be able to provide it. That's one of my favorite things to do, is connect people who need things with people who have things, because it makes my mind settle, because I don't settle. But it's just like, that's the thing that I can do. And it's just like, oh, we did a good job. And it gives us a little dopamine trigger. And then we can go eat a Reese cup or something. It's a whole thing that I do. It's called helping people. Y'all should do it. I didn't mean to make that sound like that, by the way. I know y'all help people. I'm nervous all the time while I'm doing this. But we're gonna have our next poet come out. Alani, is Alani here? Maybe she's in the back. It's the back people.
I am not in the back with the back people.
I mean, in my setup, you actually are, but it's okay.
I mean, that's your setup, but I'm not in the back.
Take it away. Thank you.
Do I do an intro? Is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing I do? Okay.
What you do, why you chose, the things you chose, all of that.
All right, so my name is Alani Rouse. Hausson, are you muted? Okay, so my name is Alani Rouse. I am a junior at University of North Carolina in Greensboro. I also live by a train, so next door to the train. It builds character, but it's very loud, and I cannot promise you're not going to hear it. I am a psychology and African American diaspora studies student. I'm also a youth leader with the National Juvenile Justice Network. That's a thing that I do. That is how I met Jared. I met him at one of our conferences that we have every summer. So yeah, and I write poetry in my free time sometimes when I want to. So I'm gonna share with y'all. I think I did my intro. Did I share my pronouns? She, her, hers. There's always a law. Bending, being twisted, broken. Label contingent on description. Sentence, levy on skin for the days the system don't see. Knows how to lean a little. Skin, usually white like paper. That's all you get. Sentences, if your skin is not white like paper, long and tall enough to keep your family warm at night, the type of warm needed when home really is where the heart is at. They're gonna try to drown you in labels. They're gonna try to stifle you between metal, and they don't know the way they're gonna watch you twist and turn it in their face. The way you'll burn blueprints for bondage, build kingdoms out the ashes, make a home where they did not want you. They're gonna try to drown you. And know that oppression knows no borders, hops on the plane ride home with you, shows up at the dinner table, won't bring nothing for you to eat and still expects you to feed it. Oppression, white supremacy, the government, all one and the same, show up to your door unannounced, will ask to be let in like they ain't been overstaying their welcome, not that they was ever welcome in the first place. They did not know you've been built to push though. They did not know you be their worst nightmare. The dream they can't wake up from that sits on their steps, takes their jobs, and honestly, the key word is try. They're gonna try to drown you, and they will not. They did not know you could swim, would find breath between beats and make a stage with your story, turn yourself immortal in that way. There is always a law, system, always rules, built tall. And I feel so bad, not really. Because all rules are meant to be broken, and I am telling you that it always falls down.
Thank you, Alani, for sharing with us. Oh, she's gone. We appreciate you. Thank you, Jason, for sliding through. Ooh, somebody's joining. Jared, not Jason. I apologize, bro. I should have looked before I opened my fat mouth. And no, I'm okay. We're not going to finish on time. Y'all can throw imaginary tomatoes at me because I want to make sure that our last poet of the night, last storyteller, Jeremy, has enough time. One of the things that we've touched on is how difficult it is for us in America as people of color. One of the things that I think was highlighted was, how hard it is, even doubly so, for people who come into this country, more so than people who, were born trapped here. We're not trapped. We're born here, But Jeremy is from Trinidad and Tobago. and he's gonna share with us. Are you here, bro? I'm looking at your name. Is your camera gonna pop up, or did you leave? Can you hear me? Here he is. I bet. Sorry, that was my anxiety. He's gonna close us out and share with us from where he is, and I hope y'all vibe with it.
I hope you all hear me properly. I hope so. Am I loud enough? Am I loud enough? Am I being heard? I need to bump it up. All right, cool. So I'm going to be doing 3 pieces. I've gotten 3 persons to tell me their stories. So I'm going to be doing 3 pieces on those stories that they've given me. And I hope that you all enjoy it. The first story is from a guy named David Moore, who was a worker in a house for an upper class family, and he was disliked by one of the family members, and because of that he ended up in a bit of a scenario. When persons are placed in remand in Trinidad and Tobago, usually the remand takes a very long time, and so this is what the piece is about. So I hope you'll enjoy it. Colossians chapter 4, verse 5. Behave wisely towards outsiders. Make the best use of your time. This was David's favorite Bible verse because David is a man of time. He constantly watches the watch he's wearing, so he reaches to work on time. He times his lunch break, so he starts back working on time. Each bathroom break is accompanied by a sprint to the nearest fast food restaurant, counting 60 seconds 5 times in his head so he's not away for too long, because his urine isn't worthy to be in his employer's porcelain throne, but that's okay. David doesn't want to intrude. He doesn't have the time, because David is a man of time. The boss man commends him for his hard work, cutting grass and tending to flora, scrubbing moss off the driveway, painting walls. David was a jack of all trades, but the king of time. He got everything done before 6 p.m., where he was paid $100 TT every day. That's like about $15 US. But on June 11th, 2014, the money never came. Bossman was late. Only his daughter resided in the house, just reached home from school. And what resided in her heart was a hate for David to her. He was so unkempt and ugly. David always overheard her saying he smells like sweat all the time. Anytime she comes home from school, he always talks to her, always asking her how her day was, and that's just nasty, right? For someone you perceive as below you to ask you about your day. But David, being a stickler of time, went home so he could come on time the next day. But little did he know that Bossman's daughter twisted her tongue that night. In ways unknown, out of the bounds of her belly, serpents left. Lies written in the book of death. David came inside the house. He put his sweaty hands on me and forced himself on me. Meanwhile, David is thanking God for the day, getting ready to sleep, even though he has no water or anything resembling a meal. And when he went to work the next day on time, he was met with extreme force. Hard pressed into the driveway, Bossman tells him he was dumb to come back, but of course he did, because he did nothing wrong. He was just being on time. I guess he just looks like the classic bad guy. Yeah, because he didn't look like them. Every word of protest was met with him being struck into silence. And just like that, David was committed into the justice system. Remanded before his trial, he began counting the days, eager to stand early in court, because we know David is a man of time. Being patient, he waited as days turned into weeks, making the best of his time like his favorite Bible verse tells him to, until weeks turns into months. He slowly realizes time doesn't heal all wounds, and months turn into a year. He began to realize now that time is his enemy. He has seen the sun rise and set for days on end. He wonders if he really did it now. His memory is now confused. He thinks he put his hands on her, 4 years remanded. Not listened to. And when his accuser spoke the truth and he was free to go, he was nothing like he was before. To this day, David is still angry, being 4 years late to get home. All right, guys, that was the first piece. So yeah, that was about David Moore. The next piece is actually about our youth training center in Trinidad and Tobago. It's actually listed as one of our schools, but it isn't like that at all. So I know we've all been on a field trip at least once in our lives. Probably the most exciting thing about school. Some of us went for the destination, the museum, the library, maybe the mall. Other persons like me fancy the bus ride. But there was one time my class was told the field trip was to another school. Didn't think much of it. Excited to see the youth like myself. I've heard the name of this school on the news before. Parents must be really excited to send their children here because it's always over capacity. I've heard people say that's where you go and learn how to behave. I've heard they're strict. The children that try to leave class early are disciplined by rod and staff, and it comforts the nation to know they are still in class, and little old me felt happy too, because I like school. So why not go to see another one? Upon arrival, we were stripped of our phones and bags. They told us to stand in single file, told us not to touch the students of the school, to respect personal space. We were led down a hallway. And on entry, the field trip was no longer a trip to a school, but it was a trip to the zoo of the disadvantaged. We happened upon cages holding boys similar to our age. Some snarled and laughed at us. Some reached out with their hands that were struck down by our armed chaperones. I see that there's not enough beds to go around in here. So boys learn how to sleep standing, because the floor was crusted in dust and feces. A bucket in the corner of the room to relieve oneself or chaperones poked at our disgust. In their green uniforms, they remark, this is where you will go for crimes at your young age. This is your portion for murder and theft or rape, or the worst of them all, if your parents think that you need discipline. Parents who lack the ability to guide their children, mothers and fathers who send their sons to the youth training center because they don't listen or around the wrong crowd, and after seeing their children are subject to group showers, looked on by armed guards, then they want them to come home from school, but it's too late now. Once you enter the pipeline, you must come out on the other side. Don't think about turning around, because there are other guys in line, and we know what happens when you try to leave class early, because they're strict at this school, where the guilty and innocent and misguided are used to scare busloads of children into behaving, and us uniformed children are used to remind them, the disadvantaged, of how they ought to behave to get to go home. Reminds them of the life they had before this. But what's the sense of this lesson? If no one believes there can be more, they will leave this place, and by the sweat of their brow, they will eat until they come back. For they are from the school to prison pipeline, and to the pipeline they shall return. So yeah, the second one, that's about the youth training center. Ooh.
Do you have one more, or was that?
One more. There's one more. This one is actually a personal piece about my friend's mother. And we have a lot of like violence in Trinidad and stuff. And well, this is about my friend who passed away recently, from his mother's point of view, because she asked me to do this. She's at the grave often, wondering in her lonesome if he is seated in heavenly places, not knowing if to recite a Bible verse, a Quranic revelation, or a line from the Vedas of the Hindu god Dhamavati. She just stands there, swallowing her sadness, her only meal of the day, just to feel it clawing back up her throat, but no words, no words. Her voice box has been in as much poverty as her for the last year, working jobs galore just to pay rent so he can come home to a safe home, because there's no protection for him out there. No legal way to earn, no money for tombstones. Her son is laid unnamed to a passerby. She knows where his resting place is only by the weeds that cover that part of the cemetery, because the rain has flattened the mound of dirt showing where he lays, yet still she spends her days there in silence, reminiscing on her son, praying on mornings, but to whom she doesn't know, for she knows no God for herself. She is just witness to other boys being buried, killed because they wanted a change, and at each funeral a different God name is called, hearing prayers to Yahweh and Allah. But the platitudes are the same. Platitudes she is sick of. He's in a better place. God has a plan. God works in mysterious ways. God never gives us more than we can bear. There is sunshine after the rain, and the sun rose, but the grief still stands because he was her son. Homeboy used to make the block hot, never hesitant to send rays of light your way, and now her sun has set. His red light warm, dripping onto the black pitch, soaking it into a crimson hue. Her son, to stay safe from the system, had a blood pact with the street that he broke. Left the hood life to be a cadet in training, hoping to defend lives. He lost his own on the same street he once ruled. No killers found, no justice, because the system, when he wasn't in uniform, he was just another product of gang violence. And he wasn't the only one. Now a mother is left, grieving, weary, willing to go to any length to see her son. She wonders if to pray to Allah, to find her son in Jannah, sitting, waiting for her by the river Jihan, or the low tree at the end of the seventh heaven. Should she take liberties with Jehovah Sabaoth, Rapha or Sikinu, and find her son in the Holy of Holies among the seraphim of Christ, maybe, just maybe in Takamagahara, with the Shinto gods? Or is he with Anubis in the Duat, weighing his heart against a feather to reach the field of reeds? Or maybe, just maybe, the fact that he died as a warrior, fighting to be different than what he is, than what was expected of him? Can he be found in Elysium or Valhalla's end? Maybe he will return blessed by Buddha with a new life, one where he can be with his mother again. But she doesn't wish this for him, because she's tired for waiting on her son to reach home, knowing that what is supposed to protect him out there seeks his demise every day. Doesn't know what better place he is in, but any place is better than this. Thank you, guys.
Oh my God. Wow. Goodness.
My man.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Jeez. Dawn, do you, or should I?
No, I got it. I want to, that is the last poem of the evening for us. And I think it is a fitting one for us to end on, because it speaks to loss, profound loss, in a way that permeates our lives. Not just physical loss, but the spiritual loss of childhood, the loss to the trauma that our broken criminal justice system creates. Thank you to all of the folks who came here tonight, shared your stories, bared your souls to help educate others, to help create humanity where other folks don't see your humanity, to help inform those who do this work about why they need to do this work. Thank you. For everyone who came, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I hope you were uncomfortable with some of the things that you heard. I hope that you sit in that uncomfortableness and think about ways that you can make this better, make this world better. Invest in our babies. Invest in these children because they're worth it. They deserve it. And we deserve to stand in this fight and fight for them to have every opportunity to blossom, to grow, to live untraumatized. And that is why myself and everyone who works for Emancipate NC gets up every day and does this work. Because we see you. We see your humanity. We see your pain. And we will not accept it. We will not. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who came. Thank you for those of you who have already supported our work financially. Thank you to those who will continue to support our work. Thank you to Hausson Byrd for putting together an amazing event for us. I'm y'all know, anybody who knows me knows I'm a crybaby. I'm a big old crybaby, but this right here, this is how I can get up. This is how you keep doing this work. This is how we stay in this fight. We have to stand in this pain. We have to stand in this discomfort. And then we have to everyone here, commit ourselves to eradicating it. Thank y'all so much for coming. And thank you for standing with us. And thank you for helping us tear this bitch down. Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. I appreciate y'all for showing up.
Good night. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Dawn and Emancipate NC. Amazing.
And Hausson, you put it together. You did that.
I can't say it enough. Hausson, I am so proud of you, baby. This was amazing.
Yes.
And the recording of this event will be on Facebook for anyone who wants to share it. And God, thank y'all so much. Hausson, this was absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of you, baby. So proud of you.
Thank you. I worked really hard.
It paid off. You hear me? Every ounce of hard work showed up here tonight. Thank you. Now, okay, go on and get some rest. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Time out.